single. They've done enough. It's the Eagles. Vitality Blast 2019 Champions.
There's been a lot of talk about Gooch's era, Fletcher's era. Now we've won Division 1, we can say that, you know, we're actually starting to build our own era.
And that is the moment they have decided to shake hands. And the county championship is on its way back to Chelmsford.
Wicket and to unsettle Durham again, and of these two can bat through the first hour. Wow, I think that would have done the job. I mean, I was really impressed with Burnham's calculated aggression. Surprised by the first bit of it, but then he showed that that was a good mode of operation from the Durham point of view. Don't just let Simon Harmer bowl to you. Try and take the attack to him. And they've dovetailed well with Borthwick's occupation of the crease. He's been there for a couple of hours for 9, 88 balls, and Burnham's he's scoring at 60 runs per 100 balls, and that's impressive given the match situation.
Risk free. He played with the spin. He went over the top with the spin. He swept when there was no deep backward square. He played well. Meanwhile, at the other end, Scott Borthwick, 9 runs in just over 2 hours. Well, here we go. Jamie Porter from the Hayes Close end. First delivery of the day. It's an immaculate delivery which brings Burnham forward. Plays with the full face of the bat up to, I think it's Tom Wesley at mid-off where there is no run.
And one thing that Essex will hope is that the trend, not only of this match but of the season so far, of wickets falling very early in sessions continues, because they could do with one in the first couple of overs here. I think they'll sense that Durham are just ahead at the moment. Interesting, only 2 slips rather than 3, perhaps just feeling that Wesley needs to save runs.
Bowling at Burnham, he just doesn't allow him the opportunity to score runs. Yeah, Nick, that's absolutely right. 2 slips waiting. Porter's on his way in to the crease. He bowls, and this is into the leg side, and it could be a good shot here for 4 as it races across the netting area here at Chelmsford. Goes to deep square leg where there is 4 runs, short boundary today, and a very fine shot to start the morning's proceedings by Jack Burnham. He moves to 35 and the score 64 for 3.
So first little landmark for Durham is to get the target below 100. That one was on the pad, slightly over pitch. Nicely played by Burnham. Very impressive knock this. Not seen too much of him.
Porter.
In terms of being quite batting friendly, despite the fact that 18 wickets fell on the first day, but that was a bit misleading because we had perhaps some average strokes and also wickets falling in fading light at the end.
Yeah, it's a better cricket wicket, I believe. Porter in bowls. This is out, just on off stump, which is played sensibly by Burnham into the offside. There is no run. 64 for 3, 104 required.
I guess it's the fact that 18 wickets fell on the first day guaranteed a result, but it's obviously it suggests the way that the game has gone that you might have been better off bowling first, but we don't know what Durham would have done, but often in April and September that's what you want to do at Chelmsford, although of course it isn't damp as it often is at those times of year.
Not much moisture around, is there? Porter in, and this ball is nice and straight. Burnham comes forward, plays with the full face of the bat, so we've got one more ball in the first over of this morning's proceedings. We've seen 4 runs, an exquisite leg side shot off his legs.
Hard work for the Essex seamers though. I would imagine both Edgbaston and New Road would be pretty good batting wickets, particularly with a lack of rain.
Yes, absolutely. We've seen Middlesex skittled out and Essex were skittled out. Other than that, the innings totals have been good. Porter for his final ball is a bit leg side-ish, goes down to fine leg where Paul Water does the fielding in front of the big scoreboard here, and we're up and running. We've had 1 over from Jamie Porter, and most importantly Durham have moved along with 5 runs off the first over. Update. Very good morning to a sun-blessed county ground here at Chelmsford. No wickets to report. Alas, just 5 runs. Jack Burnham has got them all. He's moved to 36, and his partner is Scott Borthwick, the Durham captain. He's been there for 2 hours yesterday evening for his 9. And most importantly, the 5 runs added to Durham's total is 65 for 3, and they need a further 103 runs for victory, and Essex need 7 more wickets. Thank you, Nick. Martin Emerson will join us when he's done his update to the northernmost parish. Newcastle, Tyne Tees, that area, the Weir. And good morning to everyone up there if you're listening from BBC Radio Newcastle. And you're welcome if you're listening to BBC Essex, and of course that's quite a large percentage of East Anglia, Suffolk, Hertfordshire, and obviously Essex and Metropolitan London. So good morning to you. We have opening the bowling from the Hayes Close was JB Porter, and for the second over of the morning, none other than Simon Harmer. So Wesley's put his faith in Harmer. Harmer's going to be bowling with a slip and a bat pad on the leg side, and Tom Wesley is on the boundary to Burnham, and this time Burnham takes the single. It's an interesting tactic there for Essex. Wesley was last night at mid-on saving one. He's now gone back to the boundary, not allowing Burnham to get those boundaries, as he's got a long on, which was Wesley himself. Now we've got the left-hander. Harmer, not because he's scared of Burnham, but Burnham played positive and had intent against Harmer. What is good to see is Harmer's now bowling at the left-handed, if we say anchorman, which is Scott Borthwick, the Durham captain, and he's turning the ball away, and another man has come in. 3 around the bat. This is bowled nicely. Borthwick goes back, plays with a straight back to the bowler, dot ball. Good morning, Mr. Emerson.
Good morning. Who was it who said on air yesterday that if we were here this time tomorrow, something had gone horribly wrong? Was it Nick?
Nick.
And here we are.
We are. Yeah. Another beautiful sunny day. Harmer round the wicket, bowls, and this turns a little bit, and Wheater takes it outside off stump. It's shaped up to play by Scott Borthwick, but he realises it's going to turn and go away, so he's happy to leave it.
I think my response to that was, how many times have we said that in commentary and then been surprised to be there the next day? Not expecting that we would be.
Little bit more air, little bit fuller, but outside off stump again, calculating that Scott Borthwick is happy to leave that ball through to the keeper. No run.
Another lovely sunny day, but there's still that chill in the air.
Harmer round the wicket, bowls a little bit quicker, and this is going to go for certainly runs as it's pierced the infield. It's gone for 1, 2, and they're going to come back for the third. Probably not the greatest delivery, short and wide, which has been cut by Borthwick. 4-3. Now we've had 8 runs this morning. We've had a 4, a 1, and then the 3. So 69 for 3, and most importantly for Durham, it's gone below 100. 99 runs required. Tom Wesley moves back because Burnham's facing. He's in front of us. It's Wesley. This time it's an immaculate forward defensive for the final ball of the over.
Is this the second over of the day?
Second over. Porter, which I'm sure you'll be happy to commentate on in a moment. Porter from the Hayes Close end and Simon Harmer from the River end. So 99 runs required for what would be perceived, Marty, as a fantastic away victory at the county champions, no?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty relaxed, that, Marty. I thought you'd say yes, with gusto and enthusiasm.
I think there's an awful lot of twists and turns could be coming our way yet.
Oh, definitely, but
tense
you've got
morning
the chance.
here because Durham know what a win here would mean, and I think for Essex it's 945 days now since they lost at home. I wrote something down in my notepad yesterday about how long it was. Yeah, 955.
Yes.
Porter is going to come round the wicket to the left-handed Borthwick from the Hayes Close end of the ground. So that's the far end of the ground. As we look at things, we're down at fine leg on the boundary and upstairs slightly. That last shot from Borthwick looped into the air, and for a second I thought he was just going to be caught in the covers, but then it landed quite safe. Here comes Porter, then he's got one slip, and the keeper's standing quite a way back as Borthwick turns that off towards mid-wicket. And you were saying yesterday Borthwick had batted for 2 hours for 9 runs. His run rate climbed up because Chris Sharp tweeted last night to say if he works on it he could get below 10 before the end of the day's play, and I think he finished on 11. He's now on 12.9.
It doesn't matter if he can get his team over the line.
Yeah, and he was stoic in the first innings as well with his 100.
Yes.
If you can keep your head when all around you are losing theirs and all that.
Scoring 100 in a winning team is magnificent.
Here comes the bowler again. Borthwick turns that towards mid-wicket. No run there. It's collected by Tom Wesley, the Essex skipper. So it's a sunny day. I went from the hotel this morning along the high street and I thought, whoa, this is nice and warm. Went into a shop to grab some stuff for lunch, and when I came out the breeze was then in my face. I was like, oh, this is nice and cold. So still that chilly northeasterly breeze coming in off the sea.
I thought you were going to say you went to church.
No.
I can understand that.
Yeah. And the church is still shut. Round the wicket comes Porter. Bowls, defended by Borthwick on a length, round about off stump.
One slip in for Borthwick and probably Burnham. Not an issue. I mean, Tom Wesley's. This is what you learn and earn your corn as a captain. You've got to, as a tactician, you've got to think ahead of the game. And at the moment, I think what Porter, the captain, Wesley are doing, saying to Durham, right, we're going to give you absolutely nothing, and we're going to wait for a wicket to occur.
Here is Porter. Borthwick plays it back up to the bowler's end. No run there. Paul Wilson's been on. How do Marty and his band of merry men? Greetings from a fairly sunny and mildish Costa del Hartlepool. Steady run making today for a Durham victory, and many thanks for the commentary, he says, and the stories. He said, I may not be able to listen to much cricket commentary over the next few weeks, but never say never, as I start a new job on Monday. Well, good luck with the job, Paul.
Yeah.
You can have a sly listen every now and then when the boss isn't looking.
Now, who is that to our right?
In comes Porter and bowls, and again it's short on the leg side to, I think that's Alistair Cook in there. That's Will Gidman, isn't it? It's in there.
Right, Will Gidman.
Yeah.
What his capacity at Durham today?
He's helps with the coaching.
Assistant coach or?
I don't know what his official title is, just part of the coaching team.
Because the new regime up there is James Franklin and Marcus North.
Yeah.
An Australian.
Third season of them now.
Yeah.
You can hear Borthwick tapping his bat into the ground as Porter comes in and bowls round the wicket. And Borthwick defends. That was right on the money, that delivery. On a length on middle stump. It's played safely away. Confirmation today as well. I think I mentioned this on Thursday morning. Cameron Steele is on a 2-month loan with Hampshire. He got 100 for their seconds at Guildford the other day. So looking to try and regain his form there. And who knows if it's his success. He might be able to play his way. Yeah.
Surplus?
Well, what happened was that he was having a really good time of things, and then a couple of years ago, pre-season, they went to South Africa and he got hit on the head by Dwayne Olivier in a game with Yorkshire and was concussed. So missed the start of the season as a result of that, and then never really regained his spot.
Harmer starts a new over from the river end. This time it's a good delivery which nearly bounced back onto the stumps, and it's bounced into the gloves. Not one hand, one bounce, I'm afraid, at these games of cricket. So well bowled, but well played, negotiated. Played him on the back foot. That's the interesting thing. Was he done in the air? Burnham waiting. Harmer's in, bowls. This time he leaves it. It was a slightly quicker ball, which is taken well by Wheater, sort of outside of the stumps, and I'm going to say that's probably a bit of a dangerous leave, but he negotiated because he watched the pace. It was a quicker delivery from Harmer. Again, Harmer turns, he bowls this time. He plays him on the back foot, plays it nice and straight where Tenduscarter under the lid picks the ball up.
Burnham's highest score last year was 31. He averaged 14 in 5 innings, made 72 runs. He got 42 last week at Trent Bridge. He's on 37 now.
As Harmer bowls, an opportunity there, not a catch. I think Tenduscarter went for it, but he came down the wicket, and I think Harmer saw him come. He adjusted his length, got in a bit of a tangle, did Burnham, but it was safe. It didn't go to the hand of Ryan Tenduscarter as Harmer comes in again. A little bit slower, well played, smothers the spin.
We saw last night Burnham coming down the track a few times at Harmer. And then who did he hit the 6 off?
Harmer.
No, it was from the other end. He was at this end when he put it. Was it Lawrence?
Oh yes, no, it was Dan Lawrence. It was a real rank long hop, wasn't it? This is played up to backward point where it was well fielded by Sam Cook. I thought that was a decent over. There were some questions asked of Jack Burnham there. What has Harmer done differently? I think he's varied his pace, possibly varied his line a little bit more, trying to get perhaps a bit more outside off stump rather than bowling. Harmer's bowled 14 overs, 4 maidens, 0 for 29. And Durham, who require 99 to win this LV Insurance Championship match, are 69 for 3.
You know, and sometimes you think your phone's listening to everything you say, in discussions, and then I found out it actually was recently, because lots of apps have the microphone on all the time. As Porter comes in from the Hayes close centre ball to Borthwick, it's gone down the leg side, he has a little waft at it, keeper takes it. Anyway, last night we were discussing, you were playing for, was it Norfolk or Suffolk? Norfolk against Northumberland?
I played against both Northumberland in the minor counties as well as Durham before they were a professional first-class county.
And you came across Stevie Greensword playing for...
Correct.
Durham or Northumberland?
He was playing for Durham with that chap Neil Riddell.
Neil Riddell, yeah. Still see Neil Riddell every now and then. As round the wicket comes Porter again to Borthwick, and that's off the pad and it goes out towards square leg.
Can't give that.
I have to say, I totally lost track of the ball there in the light as he tried to play at it.
Leg side.
Yeah. Anyway, you were discussing Stevie Greensword. I turned my phone on today, and I haven't seen Stevie for a while. And there was a friend request from Stevie Greensword, and I thought, well, how spooky was that? Or how coincidental was that?
It was very, very coincidental, that. Amazing.
69 for 3, Durham. Porter to Borthwick, who collapses into this shot. Plays enough towards mid-wicket. He is reminiscent in some ways of the sort of late style of Paul Collingwood. Of course, he spent a lot of time with Paul Collingwood at Durham.
Yes.
He's just having a little wander.
Good morning to Martin Axel, who's listening and watching the streaming this morning. Good morning to you on a Sunday, bright, sunny morning.
Porter again bowls, and again it's defended by Borthwick and runs up to the bowler's end. It's a real test of mettle, this, isn't it? You know.
It is.
Porter's Johnny on the spot, Borthwick standing firm.
There'll be many, Marty, who go, come on, hit the ball. Come on, the lack of patience.
Job. He's faced 102 balls now for 12 runs.
Yeah, it's Stonewall
This is vital
Jackson.
work, isn't it?
It is really quite intense. You can hear the applause and the encouragement from the inner ring.
In comes the bowler and runs. There you are, right off the middle. Played it nicely off his legs. He's going to get at least 2 here as the ball is being chased down towards the pavilion end of the ground, and it will be just 2. Throw on the turn, and the keeper collects it midway between both sets of stumps.
I think Scott Borthwick last night did look, not as a criticism,
Partnership 51.
as an observation. He got a little bit in a bunker, and that wasn't a problem. Jack Burnham wasn't going to get in a bunker. But this morning, what has come across to me this morning is Scott Borthwick isn't in the bunker. He's actually come out here this morning and said, right, when runs are going to be offered or a ball of a scoring opportunity is offered, I'm going to take it, which is the right mentality.
Porter in again, and this is played up to mid-on. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the over. Durham, 71 for 3. That partnership has now reached 51 in 133 balls.
Well, we've had 5 overs here this morning at Chelmsford. Welcome to BBC Essex, BBC Radio Newcastle. Marty Emerson, Nick Gledhill and Don Topley are your commentary team for the final day of Essex versus Durham. Durham need a further 97. And the first 5 overs of the morning, 3 from Porter, 2 from Harmer, I must say and confirm that it's been Durham's 5 overs. What will happen now? Harmer with his 3rd over of the morning. He bowls a little bit quicker. It's an inside edge that goes to the man on 45. There is no run, well fielded. I do think Burnham or Harmer's bowling slightly differently to Burnham this morning. It's going to be interesting. It's a good matchup, as is a key word they mention these days. Harmer again. This is relatively straight, just played into the leg side. There is no run. Marginally warmer, Marty, this morning.
About half a degree, maybe.
Okay. As Harmer turns on his way in, nice and tall, gives it a bit of air, but it's negotiated well, it's seen, spotted by Burnham, plays into the leg side, no run.
Dan Norcross has just retweeted a picture of us two saying, with Surrey's match not likely to bubble up until this afternoon, my choice today is Jack Lemon and Walter Matthauer on the mic.
Harmer in. He bowls, and this is looking for a shot, for a run there. Must say, well fielded by the short mid wicket, who parried it. They fancied the single, but alas, they turned it down. Well bowled, well fielded, good cricket. What did he call us?
Well, it was weren't they the odd couple?
As well played, quicker ball by Harmer, a little bit fuller. I don't think Burnham came as far forward on that delivery, but he played it with a straight bat, being particularly watchful. Good cricket again. Intense performance here by both Essex and Durham. Short, and he's missed out there on a run scoring opportunity. Goes down the leg side. He was hoping to look to pull it.
Pulled out in the last second there,
and
didn't he?
Yes. 71 for 3.
On the Twitter, Count Fosco says, hello Don, enjoying the commentary as always. We need these two quickly to put some pressure on the tail before this one gets away. Best wishes from sunny Bangkok. Dan Norcross said, with Surrey's match not likely to bubble up until this afternoon, Durham's quest to become the first successful Raiders at Fortress Chelmsford in 955 days is my morning listen with Jack Lemon and Walter Mattar on the mic. I pictured Dan in a morning jacket. Well, one of those smoking jacket type things in a cravat, but with a really garish Hawaiian shirt on today.
Yes. Good morning, Dan.
Porter from the Hayes close end to the left-handed. Borthwick around the wicket. Borthwick finds mid-on, no run. I don't know if he's got a conservatory, but I could imagine him probably in it.
Isn't it Lord Norcross of Balham?
Balham. I wonder if he's ever been to Balham Donkey Sanctuary.
Oh, don't know, but yeah,
those
quite a
who've
trendy
seen
area.
the recent
days,
YouTube
Balham
video will know what the Balham Donkey Sanctuary joke is about.
No, right.
And those who haven't won't.
They'll have to research.
Yeah. Here, Borthwick tapping his bat into the ground as Porter comes in. Oh, and there's a little edge squirted down towards third man there for 1 run.
I bet he hasn't got a conservatory.
No, he won't have, will he?
He's got an orangery.
Orangery in Balham.
Yes, that'd be very expensive.
It's up and coming Balham now, you know.
Yeah, very trendy.
Yeah. In fact, it's not called Balham anymore. It's called up and coming Balham.
Barlam.
Barlam, yes. Yes.
Bit like
Twinned with Bath.
Yes. Next door is Clam, isn't it?
Yes,
they call it
Clam. Yes.
Nice green area. Just
I was
tubes.
driving through there a few years ago, and I passed the same war memorial 4 times, and I thought, how have I done this? And what happens is the river bends.
Right.
So I thought, as long as I keep the river on my right-hand side, I'm going in the right direction. Well, of course,
you didn't.
I just kept going backwards and forwards. Coming over the wicket now to Burnham. Burnham defends the ball, runs back up towards mid-off, and it's a dot ball. John Smithson says, come on Durham, fantastic win for Eppleton yesterday at Sacriston. I just need this win today for an excellent weekend. Chris Sharp says the big question is, can Durham delay the inevitable batting claps until after lunch? And he says, if so, they'll win. Wow.
Well, it's been a game of tail enders, isn't it? Hey, Marty, you've been here all 4 days, and the tail enders in both sides have performed admirably.
Porter to Burnham. Oh, that skids through, and Burnham just keeps it out at the last second there. It pitched and went low, and he just managed to get down on top of it at the crucial moment. I thought that was going to steeple through and take his off stump out of the ground.
Yeah, that's well said, Marty. I mean, Essex want a day 4 wicket now to just be a little bit undulating, maybe to turn a bit more. Will we see that? Has it dried out any more from yesterday afternoon to this morning? There was a frost around this morning. A small frost.
In comes Porter bowls, and firmly forward to that one is Burnham. How many balls left of this over? 1 to go. Ken Richardson says he's looking forward to paying a visit to Barney and the Riverside very soon. Barnard Castle yesterday lost to Hartlepool by 68 runs. He's put the scorecard on there. Adrian Thomas, was Leicestershire the last team to beat Essex at Chelmsford?
I think
was it them? I thought it was. There were 3 defeats that year. Was it?
There was
Notts,
Leicester, and I think we lost to Derby.
Derbyshire, was it? This is defended. End of the over. 72-4-3.
No, sorry, you're correct.
Sorry.
In September.
Keep the tweets coming in at Marty Cricket on Twitter. And on the emails, Doug Rain says, good morning, gents. Greetings from Tunbridge in Kent. It's sun-kissed here, but very chilly. Hopefully, a positive result before lunch. Away me bonny lads, says Doug, the Fulwell Mackem.
Mackem.
Yeah.
Describe exactly what a Mackem is.
Mackem is basically people from Sunderland, and they used to describe it was the biggest shipbuilding town in the world, and they used to say that they would Mackem and Tackem. Mac the ships.
So is it rude for anyone that comes from Sunderland if you say a Geordie?
Well, most people who live in Sunderland would not class themselves as Geordies.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Harmer round the wicket to the left-handed Borthwick. 3 men round the back, slightly quicker, outside off stump through to the keeper.
I think that's more to do with was it during the Civil War? There was Newcastle supported one side and to the south was the Geordies were to the north, something like that. I can't remember the
Harmer in. Borthwick leaves again. That's a bit of a quicker ball. Probably hasn't turned as much. Probably gone on with the arm. That's well bowled, but well watched by the captain, Scott Borthwick. He has 15 in 108 balls. Now,
if somebody can tell me where the term Geordie comes from, and then I can let.
That was a sensible question. You know, whether they don't like being called a Geordie from Sunderland. This time it's short. It's giving himself a bit of room as the left-handed captain. Played out a backward point, but it's hit a fielder. So good-looking shot, but nonetheless no run.
I was saying there, in the 80s really, people used the phrase Mackem as a sort of derogatory term, but at Roker Park you used to hear them singing Geordies, Mackems in the Fulwell end.
Harmer. This time it's quite full. It's well fielded. Short cover there, quite there on the drive for catching by Ben Allison. It's a decent delivery, but good shot for nothing again. 72 for 3, still needing 96 for victory. Harmer again. Little bit of a loop. It's cut out to Paul Water on the cover there, where there is no run. Probably that's a run scoring ball, but unfortunately he found the fielder, didn't he? Found the fielder.
Good morning and welcome to listeners on 5 Live Sports Extra who have just joined us.
Harmer on his way in, round the wicket to Borthwick. Oh, there's a play and a miss as it ends up in the hands of Adam Wheater, the keeper. That is the end of the over. 72 for 3, Durham are. It's been Durham's morning so far. We've had the best part of 6-8 overs this morning, and they haven't lost a wicket. Harmer's got the bowling figures of 16 overs, 6 maidens, 0 for 29. It's been exhilarating, it really has, but at the moment, the first punch of the morning has got to be given to Durham, who have done well. They've survived and still need, Marty, 96 runs to defeat the county champions.
Essex bowled out on day one in overcast conditions here in between the rain breaks and the hail for 96, their lowest score against Durham, and their lowest score since they were out for 94 against Derbyshire in 2014. Durham then made 259 thanks to 100 exactly from Scott Borthwick and 52 not out at the end of the innings from Stewie Pointer. They lost 4 wickets for 3 runs in the gloom of the evening session on day one. After 7 o'clock it was when that match finished on that day, and really don't think they should have been out there at that time. And they also came back out for 2 overs after 7 o'clock and lost a wicket of Ben Rain during that spell, so it felt the progress they had made was then taken away from them with those 4 wickets disappearing in the gloom. But they had a lead of 163, and then they had Essex in a little bit of a struggle. They were only 1 run ahead with 5 wickets down in their second innings before the tail fought back strongly yesterday. I'll talk you through that in a moment as Sam Cooke comes on to replace Porter from the Hayes close end. The first ball to Burnham is defended and runs up in the sunshine to mid-on. Yesterday there were career bests, weren't there? Paul Walter made 77, Ben Allison 52 and Sam Cooke 37, all chipping in with vital runs. And Durham ended up being set 168 to win. They lost both openers for Ducks last night and were none for 2 after 2.3 overs. Beddingham went for 18, and then these two have now put on more than 50. And Sam Cook comes in, and Burnham is forward to that one, and the ball squirts away between first slip and gully and down towards third man for 1 run, and is fielded there by Jamie Porter.
Those bowlers, Essex bowlers, yesterday afternoon, evening, batted so well. You talked about career best, but in the context of the game,
they ate up a lot of time, didn't they?
They did, which then made a little bit more traffic happen on this county championship wicket, which is important. This is a 4th day. Essex are hoping that there's going to be the odd ball that might keep a little bit low, and Harmer would like a bit of bounce, but they played so well, and full credit to your seamer.
Bryden Cast.
He got a little injury after taking his 4th wicket, I think it was, but he ended up with his 5-wicket haul, and I have to say he bowled so well, bowled with a lot of heart yesterday afternoon.
Oh, now then, pressure here as Cook comes round the wicket to Borthwick, the left-hander, who turns that to square leg, but he's brought in a silly mid-off, just to try and put a little bit of pressure on the left-hander.
In the eye line.
Yeah, and the man in there is Nick Brown.
I'm going to bring in Nick Gledhill after the end of Simon Harmer's next over from BBC Essex, BBC Radio Newcastle and 5 Live Sports Extra. Good morning to you all.
Davey's wondering what has been delivered for breakfast this week. Little sort of bags of croissants and little boxes of cereal and things like that. Round the wicket comes the bowler. And
shot.
Where's that gone? Borthwick's fired that straight past square leg for 4 to the pavilion. He hit it hard. And then there's a man, not quite square leg, just a little bit advanced from that position a few yards, and it went flying past him, Dan Lawrence.
Shot of the morning, Marty.
Yeah,
that was a fantastic shot off his legs.
He has looked in this game strong on his leg side, very strong on his leg side, Scott Borthwick.
I said to you earlier, I thought Scott Borthwick has come out this morning where he got a little bit in a bunker yesterday and batted well, and he was the anchor man. Today, he's shown a little more intent. Any opportunity to score, he's taken it.
Drives this one out into the covers. It bobbles awkwardly, but it's stopped. Yesterday, he was on 9. And he'd been out there 2 hours.
2 hours, 3 minutes or something, yeah, absolutely.
He's now on 19 from 115 deliveries. Strike rate's gone up to 16.5. It was nearly 10 yesterday. Burnham on the other end is on 38 from 77 with a strike rate of nearly 50. And he put a 6 into the housing estate yesterday. I don't think they found that ball.
No.
He rose bushes.
He batted really well yesterday evening. Struggled a little bit more this morning.
Cook in, and forward comes Borthwick to a slower ball that time. That is the end of the over. Latest odds. This is from Davey McCall, who says when they were 71 for 3, so they're now 77 for 3. Essex 5 to 2, Durham 2 to 7, and he said I think it's closer than that.
Yeah, possibly. I think it's been Durham's morning so far. Essex needed a wicket, and then they could have put the noose around Durham's neck and just slowly but surely tightened it. That's what they do. But it's been Durham's morning so far. And I have to say, Essex have looked upon it and said, right, because we haven't got a wicket early doors, what we're going to do is we're just going to not spread the field, but not over-attack with the seamer, and just try and dry the runs up. But to be fair to Durham have played very nicely this morning, and they look at the moment in the ascendancy. Can Simon Harmer do anything about it? Burnham's facing, there's a slip and a bat pad on the leg side. This is short. He goes back and plays it with a straight bat. If Harmer bowls another delivery like that, I think Burnham will look to cross bat it, pull it into the leg side. There is a deep square leg. There's a deep square leg and there's a deeper mid wicket, but he's nowhere near the boundary. Harmer in, bowls it, gives it a bit of air. It's turned a little bit and it's an inside edge into the leg side, which avoids the man at short mid-wicket. They take the singles, it goes out to Paul Water at, as I say, he's about 30 yards on the long boundary, in from the boundary rope at mid-wicket. And it brings the left-handed Scott Borthwick on to strike, and Harmer turning the ball away from the impressive Durham captain.
Got you an answer.
As another man comes in, so there's 3 men round the bat. Slipner Gully, Harmer bowls, this is clipped off his legs again, this time goes down to the shorter boundary, which is at deep square leg, which is a well-known school corner, where there is 1 run. Rotation and the right-handers on strike.
Paul says the name Geordie originated during the Jacobite Rebellion of 1745.
Harmer to the right-handed Burnham. He comes down the wicket. That's a good-looking shot. Harmer dives, but he avoids the catch, and it goes out to the boundary at long off, where there is a chase, but it's been given up. It's a good shot. 4 more runs to Burnham, 4 runs to Durham. They move on to 83 for 3.
Target is 168, and Burnham's gone 1 more run than he did last week at Trent Bridge. He's on 43 now.
Well, you gave me some stats about his season last year, and I'm going to say to you, he looks a better player than those stats from last year. Harmer in, bowls, a little bit quicker. He comes down the track. He meets it on the half volley and plays it into the floor, goes back to Harmer. There is no run. 83 for 3, still needing 85 for a historic victory and a defeat for Essex, the county champions. The right-handed Burnham, this time he pulls it in the air. It could be out in front of us. Wesley's got the wicket, he's mistimed it. It was marginally short. Previously he's been playing it straight. This time he went for the crossbat, and I think he top-edged it. He didn't top-edge it square, he top-edged it straight down the throat of Tom Wesley, that is 3/4 back to the river stand. He's at long on, probably, I would tend to say 15 yards in. So Burnham will be really disappointed.
He just suddenly got a little bit carried away, and he was trying to go after every ball there, and I was thinking to myself, you need to calm down here, and he's gone and got himself out.
It was marginally short, but he didn't execute it right, and unfortunately he has to go. He's been caught, Wesley Harmer, for 43, and that is the first wicket that Essex has got. Durham are 83 for 4, and they're still 85 runs adrift of winning this game. I'm going to leave the stage. I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Marty Emerson and bring in Nick Gledhill.
Well, Durham didn't need that. He was just getting too excited out there, and I can see Will Gidman sitting next to us shaking his head there and thinking to himself, why did he do that? This is the thing with Jack Burnham, he gets himself into so many good positions, decent starts, and then doesn't convert those starts into good scores. He's only had the 1 century. Been around a few years now, and I think Ned Eckersley's the new batsman, and Durham aren't even halfway to their target either. That's the other thing. They are 83 for 4, and they need another 85. Now Eckersley last week got a century not out, 113 in the second innings at Trent Bridge, and put on a 254, a record stand with David Beddingham. I think it was Durham's 5th wicket. And he's coming in fresh now, and Durham need 85 more to win. Nick is with us for the first time today.
Yes, hello, Martin. Just when Durham didn't want to lose a wicket, they've lost one, and vital for Essex that they broke that partnership. But all told, a very good contribution from Burnham.
I wonder how Durham will assess things now as in comes Sam Cooke to Eckersley. It's gone down the leg side. They're appealing for LBW. The keeper takes it quite a way down the leg side. Or are they appealing for a catch, maybe?
You were half expecting that to be given out, weren't you, after these? No, that was definitely going down the leg side.
It's actually quite difficult to track the ball in this light at the moment.
I know, it's really bright light, isn't it?
You You'd think that would make it easier to see the ball, but it doesn't. It just makes a dark ball difficult to track across a very bright background. As in comes the bowler. And that's defended by Eckersley on off stump. It's counterintuitive, it might sound, a dark ball against a brighter background, but the whole ground is shining. And you know, the way the ground has been rolled and cut, a lot of it's reflecting the light at the moment.
It's a beautiful day. I mean, as you I think saying off air, Marty, might as well make the most of the nice weather because it's going to turn chilly again midweek.
Cook right arm over to Eckersley, who watches that go past the off stump and through to the keeper.
BBC Essex Cricket at gmail.com or at BBC Essex Sport on social media if you want to get in touch. And I think you've given yours out, Marty, or you can do it again.
We're cricket at yahoo.co.uk.
And one or two emails, just wanted to give some mentions to a couple of late emails from yesterday and early ones today. Thanks to Jeff in Portugal for sending us a picture of where you are. Looks very nice. The same bright sunshine as we've got here, mind you.
But it's warmer there.
Yes.
Cook right arm over. This is turned out towards mid-wicket, no run there. Whereabouts in Portugal is he?
He is in, let's have a little look. No, it just says sunny Portugal, so it is definitely sunny and it's warmer, we're certain. And I think we're talking about Chris Old at some point yesterday.
Yeah.
We had the email from Ian saying that his rugby international brother was Alan. So that wasn't mentioned yesterday. I'll give you a mention today, Ian. Thanks for getting in touch with us. And also Kevin, talking about Alan, who won 16 caps for England at Rugby Union and played 40 games for Durham.
Defended by Eckersley, around about middle and off, yeah.
So nice to mention him. Dr. Dan, talking about the run rate. Durham's run rate about 1.7 per over at the time of writing. It wouldn't have gone much above that. In fact, it's hovering almost exactly 2 now. And you say the required rate was 1.2, so, well, they're not behind the rate. Low numbers, is it a good advert for red ball cricket? I think you're talking ironically. You're talking ironically, aren't you?
That came in last
Yeah, he's talking ironically there, because I think you know that absorbing 4-day game is a very interesting one.
Cook to Eckersley, doesn't have to offer a shot to that one. It's wide of off stump, and that's the end of the over. It's a maiden. I think we had bat on ball once there, and another one clipping the pads going down the leg side, and that was about it. So. Yeah. Durham are 83 for 4 and they still need another 85 to win.
Dean says, nice to see that Marty survived his night out with Don yesterday evening, and that probably was an attempt to put Durham out in the cold, literally. And there's one wicket gone down, so it's starting to work.
The girl who served us actually had family in Hebburn on the banks of the River Tyne. Her nana was from there, she said.
Did we have an email about the origin of the word Geordie?
Yes.
Ah, lovely. That's an interesting, wasn't it? Jacobite Rebellion, 1745.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin, for that. And Jeff is back with us, saying he's in Albufeira on the south coast.
Been there. You fly into Faro. We've stayed at Villamoura a few times, and there's that beautiful championship golf course on the cliffs, isn't it? What's that called again? Lost something or other. I think they played the Portuguese Open there.
Towards Carvera.
Yeah.
So, Borthwick, the ever-present Borthwick, 20 from 117. Eckersley's joined in, but Borthwick plays a flowing cover drive. He's got to the pitch of that one from Harmer and sent it away through extra cover for 4. Not too many shots like that.
Spin on it when he hit it, didn't he? Yeah. It's bounced and then went through 2 or 3 players on the cover side. The name, says Paul Wilson, originally originated from the Jacobite Rebellion of 1745. The Jacobites declared Newcastle and the surrounding areas favoured the Hanoverian King George and were for George, hence the name Geordie, used as the derivation of George.
So, Simon Harmer with 3 round the bat. Bowls, it's a useful one, with appeal for a stumping, and it's not out.
Now then, Mr. Wheater, you might be in trouble there. He's not absolutely furious, yes. And he's kicked the ground in disgust at the decision.
Coming down,
the umpires are going to have a word with him now.
Yeah, came down the pitch, but seemed not to, obviously go way out of his ground. But Wheater was very quick, and I think he obviously feels he might have got that in his favour. But it's one of those that the umpire has to make a call on, and of course it has to be accepted.
Now the umpires are going to discuss this because Wheater was furious. He threw the ball down and kicked the ground in disgust there when that didn't go his way. I think it's Peter Hartley who's actually officiating from point because of the sunshine.
It's not been a good season for keepers and stumpings
No.
this season, has it, so far? One thing that must be said, of course, about the Lewis McManus one is the decision was given out, and poor umpire probably felt he might have been slightly deceived, but you just have to, that's a decision that's made at the time. It could have been given not out. And again, a similar scenario. This is really just a question of whether the batsman was in his ground or not whether the ball was in the right hand. But anyway, not out it is, and Harmer bowls with 3 out the field for LBW. That's a good shout and out, and now the pressure's on. And Simon Harmer goes in absolute cartwheels of joy there. He was almost making a full circle of the square, having thought he might have got his man off the previous delivery. Borthwick was coming forward, hit on the pad, given out, and in the end, Wheater might get a slap on the wrist later on, but he'll be thinking to himself, perhaps I needn't have bothered there, showing that sort of remonstration, because Simon Harmer has done the job for me, and now the pressure is on. The 2 quick wickets, Burnham just playing perhaps one aggressive shot too many, and then Borthwick, the kingpin, if you like, the linchpin of the innings. LBW to Harmer, but 24, 2 new men at the crease, 87 for 5, and they're only just halfway through their chase.
I think they're in a spot of bother now, Durham. The problem there with that one, it was a really quicker delivery and it skidded through, but Borthwick went back into his crease. And it got him right on the pads. I mean, as for the stumping, we've got no idea from sitting up here. We're so far away. Can't even see the crease lines from where we are.
And even on the...
That's a big, big wicket, though. And Durham 81 to win from here. 5 wickets remaining. Coming out into the middle, I think, is Stewie Pointer, who got 52 not out in the first innings.
Well, that's going to crank up the pressure on Durham and renew Essex belief. It really is. And Simon Harmer, who thought would be instrumental here, may have got his man, but it was given not out with the stumping off the previous delivery, but then, as I say, trapping Borthwick with a quicker delivery, and it was a very, very confident shout indeed, and he was even more pleased than usual at getting a wicket, because often when Simon Harmer gets wickets at Chelmsford, it's all just part of a process of winning a game comfortably, but he knew how important that particular wicket, and that particular wicket being Borthwick, the first innings centurion, and a man who batted, well, virtually 100 balls in the second innings as well. That's
24 runs from 120 balls,
yeah,
169 minutes.
Yeah, it just tells the story, doesn't it, of how important that wicket is. So Pointer's on strike, the right-hander, with 3 around the bat, and now the close fields can come in, and we'll see more slips for the seamers, as that one just played defensively into the offside, and there is no run. So the pressure on Durham. Maybe Essex back as slight favourites now, as this is a delivery which flicks off the pad and goes away for a quick. Now let's see if that is signalled a leg by, or whether there was anything bat onto pad there. Yes, there was. So that's luckily there for Pointer. The ball didn't go in the air, went to ground between fielders, and in the end gathered in at square leg. So he's got 1, that is off the bat. Eckersley has the strike. He's got 0 from 6. It's 88 for 5, and there's an even 80 runs required. Here is Harmer bowling, and that's just played away on the bounce to short leg, and there is no run. So Harmer gets a wicket, and as I say, that was one of the more important ones I think he'll feel that he's taken at Chelmsford, because this is a very, very close match, and that is a big breakthrough. So Harmer strikes, a double strike for Essex after a good start for Durham this morning. It's 88 for 5. 2 new men at the crease in Pointer and Eckersley, and 80 runs required. We'll take a little look at what's going on elsewhere, because there are 1 or 2 other absorbing games going on. But I think none more so than this, particularly as Gloucestershire, pleased to see my prediction from yesterday is holding up. Gloucestershire are coasting, 76 for 1, halfway to their target at Taunton. Somerset have got a few problems, particularly at the top of the order. Tom Banton opening, that just doesn't sit right for me, and they've got 1 or 2 little issues, and it's going to be a great victory for Gloucestershire. They can get it.
In comes Cook from the Hayes Close end, bowling to Stu Pointer, who made 52 not out in the first innings. Got some runs at Trent Bridge last week as well.
It's a great match for Ian Holland for Hampshire, the opening batsman who got a career best. He's removed both of the overnight Middlesex batsmen, Robbie White for 73 and Martin Anderson for 26. Hampshire well on their way. Middlesex 235 for 6. Still needing almost 300 to win or to bat out the game.
Cook in, defended by Pointer on off stump. 81 to win when that last wicket fell.
And as I think Don rather feared, the latest from the Oval is Leicestershire 54 without loss, and that's rather in line with Don's prediction that it was going to be hard work for Surrey. And Surrey are probably going to have to win their games away from home. Looking at the way that Oval pitch is playing, they're 243 behind, but they haven't still have the openers together, Leicestershire.
In comes the bowler. Off the pads, and that's the end of Stewie Pointer, and you fear now from a Durham position that they don't have long left in this game. They're falling like flies at the moment. That's 3 wickets to go down. Pointer goes for 1. They are now 88 for 6. And this all goes back to Jack Burnham holing out and getting overexcited, and it's just put the cat among the pigeons, that wicket. Good partnership had developed with him and Borthwick. They were playing sensibly, and then Burnham tried to take on Harmer and got caught at long on, and as he walked off up the steps, the Durham coaches were shaking their heads in disbelief, and this is all unravelling at a rate of knots now for them. They need a hero here, and I'm not sure that their nerve is up to this, quite frankly.
No, that's... But Burnham, it was an innings of calculated aggression. The very first time he went down the pitch to Harmer, I was on commentary, Marty, and I sort of, thought that's a bold move, but he's done it okay. But of course, Harmer is such an experienced practitioner that you go to the well 5 times and you'll be successful 4, and then the next time, as happened in that case, you're not. And it's opened the door to Essex, who are now firm favourites at 88%.
3 for 5 in 2.5 overs.
Yes, tells its own story, doesn't it? And well, Essex have got themselves out of a tight corner. It will look as though they're going to get themselves out of a tight corner here. And it might just be the fillip that they need after a difficult start to the season. And surely at the moment, unless we get a partnership here, Essex are now certainly favourites, quite considerable favourites to win this game. They've probably turned the odds around at the start of the day that were in Durham's favour, firmly back the other way now. It's not impossible for Durham if they can get a partnership here, but they're starting to run out of options. It's a big ask for the tail enders to do as well as they did, say, on Friday morning in this sort of pressure situation. .88 for 6. And certainly the thing about Burnham's innings, he was keeping the scoreboard moving with what had been calculated aggression, but as they went to the well once too often.
Cook round the wicket now to Ben Rain. He got a 59 not out last week at Trent Bridge, and he plays the first ball off his legs down towards long leg, and he will run 3.
I still think Durham have got a chance here, but they do need a partnership right now.
They do.
And that was a good positive start from Rain. Of course, he's going to be a left-hander facing Harmer. So it just gives him an extra little bit of a problem.
These two, in the last couple of seasons, have put on some decent partnerships.
Yeah.
Both former Leicestershire players as well. They have a good understanding, and if ever there's a time for them to come to the party, now is that time. Paul Lund a few moments ago said, loving the commentary, come on Durham, dig in, we can do this, but I think that was sent before the last 2 wickets fell.
Yes.
Cook again now bowls. It's left alone outside the off stump by Eckersley.
Absolutely, it's a different situation.
The thing Durham need to do now is they need to, when the tail fall back again in the first innings, but yesterday we saw as well, Durham put on 111 with their tail on the second morning, and then yesterday Essex's tail provided some runs. They've just got to calm things down now, just take the sting out of this. There's plenty of time on their hands. But at the moment, Essex are on top, and their dander is up as playing a miss there from Eckersley outside the off stump.
Look at Cook's figures, absolutely superb.
3
What a
for
season
40.
he's having, and he's come on and again got the wicket-taking delivery, and he's just having a great time. And yes, thanks to Michael Biswell saying good afternoon. Well, pleased to hear it's chilly but sunny in Spain, but I suppose that's probably relatively chilly by Spanish standards. But thanks for your comments on the commentary. Is Dr. Dan any relation to Lieutenant Dan? That's all I've got to say. Thank you, Michael. He'll tell us. And Dean says the odds Essex 1-2 on and Durham 6-4. More twists and turns yet, I believe. Championship cricket at its best. And this has been a really absorbing game. And maybe there's another twist to come. And I think we've identified it needs to be this partnership realistically from a Durham perspective. 3 men around the bat. There's a slip, a gully and a short leg, and quite a positive stroke from Rain against Harmer up towards mid-on. There's no run. There's a short cover, backward point, then an extra cover sort of right at the edge of where the circle would be, a mid-off, a mid-on, and a deep backward square leg as Harmer goes round the wicket and bowls to a left-handed Rain who leaves it alone, and there's no run. Harmer on 2 for 40 in the 19th over, and Essex have struck and struck and struck again and are on course at the moment. 91 for 6. That one just gently turns away from the off stump of Ben Rain. He has nothing to do with it. So it just needs a partnership for Durham, just a 30 or 40 partnership, and they're back in with a decent shout. Oh, this is a good one. There's an appeal here, a big shout. It's given out.
Hang on, what are they giving him out for?
Now, what are they giving him out for?
He's dropped the ball.
That's very interesting because he's gone forward. He's pushed at it. It looks like it's possibly gone past the bat, but
hang on a minute.
How is that
the
out?
bails aren't off,
yes,
and he dropped the ball.
Yes.
The wicketkeeper dropped the ball there. He did not have that in control.
No,
it was on
so
the floor.
it's obviously must have been given out as a stumping because he wasn't bowled, was he?
Well, the bails are still in place, aren't they?
So we'll look for confirmation about what's happened there, but the critical thing is it's been given. It's 91 for 7, but we're going to look for confirmation of what's happened there. So Rain sort of was brought forward by quite a full-length delivery. It's LBW, so what's happened there is flick the pad, gone through, and that's the decision. It's one that's brushed the pad, and although I think they was thinking of completing a stumping as well, certainly wasn't bowled. LBW does make sense there when we look at that, because it's one of those where it's just flicked the pad, and then there was a thought of a potential stumping, but the decision was for the LBW, and he was sort of half forward but looked pretty straight, and Harmer has struck again, and it's 91 for 7.
Well, Durham have got themselves into a real mess here, haven't they? And it's Harmer once more, who has now taken 3 for 40 from 18.4 overs, 6 of which are maidens. Durham started this morning on 60 for 3, and they've lost Burnham for 42, Borthwick for 24, Pointer for 1, and Rain for 3. They're now 91 for 7, and this is rapidly disappearing from their grasp. And Essex will fancy they might be able to wrap this up in the next few minutes. Bryden Carse is the new player. On their day, they can all get runs, but generally not in situations like this. Not when the pressure's on like this.
Classic stuff from Harmer there. One of those quite difficult ones. We are not immediately sure what the batsman's been given out for, but that does make sense, the LBW. So, Carse on strike to Harmer, and he comes forward and is placed defensively into the offside, but now, as you say, Martin, starting to get pretty gloomy from a Durham point of view. 91 for 7, still 77 required.
Lost 4 for 8 now.
Yeah. It's been a terrific
spell. This was like the collapse the other night in the darkness on day 1 on Thursday.
Slip, leg slip and short leg. This one in bright sunshine though, by contrast, as that's played off the back. But at least they can see the ball. And that's played back to Harmer, but he struck in consecutive overs, and it's been a really impressive performance from the Essex bowlers after a deceptively good start for Durham. They've struck 4 times for the addition of 8. 2 new batsmen at the crease. 91 for 7. A wicket maiden for Harmer, and all running away from Durham, so it would seem at this moment. 91 for 7. Burnham to Harmer for 43. That was the crucial breakthrough. And Borthwick and LBW to Harmer. Rain, LBW to Harmer, and in between all that, Pointer, LBW to Cook. So Cook and Harmer doing the job for Tom in these opening 2 home games.
And again, I'm reminded of that Somerset game I was talking about yesterday in 2016 at Taunton. Durham came back the next day and lost loads of quick wickets, 5 quick wickets. Hardly anybody got a run, and that was that. They were skittled out in about 17 minutes or something. It's a bit longer today. They've been playing an hour. As Cook comes in down the wickets to Eckersley, who drives and misses at that one.
Just a suggestion there from Eckersley that he might be thinking of being positive here, just to see if he can get a quick 30 or so, because if they're just going to sort of push and prod around, there may not be mileage in that. So
Chris says the inevitable batting collapse has come far too early. I can't see Durham getting another 77 from here. Yeah, they've got themselves into a bit of a mess now, haven't they? If they win from here, then it will be pretty spectacular from a Durham point of view. Eckersley's yet to get off the mark. Carter's yet to get off the mark. Eckersley nearly plays onto his own stumps there. He's got an inside edge. He doesn't know where the ball's gone. It's bounced down the leg side and collected by the keeper. It's coming up to midday. I'll have to go and do an update for Radio Newcastle in a minute. Tony says he's feeling depressed about Sunderland's defeat at Blackpool and really needs a bit of cheer today, and a Durham win would go a long way towards it. But, well, I'm not sure they're going to deliver, Tony, unfortunately.
Dr. Dan, thanks for your sketch of Martin and Don on the balcony. Far too flattering.
Here comes the bowler again, and this is driven by Eckersley out towards cover. And it's just been pointed out that Lees is on as a runner for, I think, Bryden Cars. Cars, when he was bowling yesterday, put his foot in a foothole and ricked his ankle. And he said last night when I interviewed him it was a little bit swollen, but he should be okay. But he's got Alex Lees as a runner for him.
But no, thanks very much for that, Dan. And Martin, you'll be back there in just a moment as carry on the commentary for the moment, as that's just played off the back foot defensively up into the onside and there's no run. So one or two more emails. We've got Kevin, a teaser for you on this Sunday morning. Can you tell me which current Essex player has career best bowling figures of 4 for 55 against Durham? Send you the answer about 12:30. Is he playing in the game, Kevin? That's suggesting. So current Essex player, career best bowling figures 4 for 55 against Durham. So 4 for 55 is not going to be an occasional bowler. 91 for 7, and here is Cook bowling to the right-handed Eckersley. Yes, 91 for 7. If you've just been out for a cup of coffee or a walk, it's changed very, very dramatically. That one just played down to the crease and there's no run. Durham making a pretty good start this morning, but then wickets tumbling at a rate of knots. And Martin, thanks for your email. This is something I was talking about on Saturday, so I won't go into it again, but thanks for that, about travelling to New York. And Matthew Mullins says this is almost played onto the stumps this time by Eckersley. It's amazing that things are just happening all the time now. That runs down for a single down towards Fine Leg, who comes in, but Wheater goes back, and Essex with a real spring in their step now. 92 for 7 and still 76 required. Matthew says Jack Burnham needs to hang his head in shame, built a nice partnership, then played a pointless shot, and that's not needed. Typical fashion collapse in shoes, so it's disappointing. I mean, he had a positive approach, and so very impressive what I saw of him yesterday, trying to take the fight to Harmer. Say because of Harmer's skills, if you do that sort of 4 or 5 times, you'll be successful, and then the next time you won't. And maybe just picked the wrong ball to go for the aggressive shot, but I think he had the right idea, particularly. He dovetailed well with Borthwick, whose approach was more occupation of the crease. So Eckersley on 1, Bryden cast with a runner, no score, and it's 92 for 7 as Harmer bowls, and there's a sweep here, and that's gone away past Brown and will go for 4, I think. He's giving it good chase up towards the long leg boundary. He won't get there, so there's a relieving boundary for Durham. They go to 96 for 7. Martin, talking about the lovely county of Durham and Northumberland, one of the great pleasures of our trips up to the Scottish borders was the East Coast train from King's Cross to Berwick. And on one trip, the driver pointed out the great views and the history of the Blue Bridge at Newcastle upon Tyne and Queen Victoria. The scenery up there is always great. Looking forward to seeing some of it in late May. Hoping for similar weather to this, I have to say. 96 for 7. Harmer bowls, and this time just played defensively back down the pitch, and there is no run. And Pat Keys is in contact on bbcessexcricket@gmail.com and says, a lovely day to watch this great tussle, hopefully with an Essex win on my birthday in this stupendous spring weather in Ilford. As Harmer bowls, and a sweep here in the air but safe, goes out towards deep backward square leg, and they get through for a single. So that takes Eckersley along by 1 to 6, and it's 97 for 7. Remember the target 168. So nice to hear. Well, Ilford not too far away, of course. Once a great venue for Essex outground cricket, and much missed actually, along with Southend and Colchester. But 97 for 7 as Harmer bowls. That's just played defensively from the crease there by Bryden Cast, who's out there with a runner, and there is no run. But Harmer has done the trick, and when he got to that breakthrough ball, he just knew how important that was. It was a real visible show of emotion from Simon Harmer, who bowls, and that's off the pad, goes to short leg. I think there's no contact with the bat there. The umpire agrees. It just popped up off the pad.
Harmer's appealing for LBW, but
yeah,
equally the umpire didn't agree.
No. So no contact with the bat and no chance of LBW. Had a little word with the umpire. Not this time. 3 round the bat. The short mid-wicket. 3 overs saving 1. And on the defensive, this is played by Cast. They go for a quick single here, and it just goes wide of mid-off. And Durham
I tell you what,
move along.
I thought the batsman's not moving. Why
yeah,
not
but that's
moving?
the problem,
I forgot
isn't it?
The runner was there.
It all depends who goes for the quick single, or it's the right combination of people.
There's going to be a run out here, just what they don't need.
Well, that would be ironic, wouldn't it, Martin, if that would have happened at this stage. 98 for 7, Eckersley 6, Cast 1, the target is 168.
Tony is not happy with Burnham in the way he got himself out. He said it's not good enough. He said he had so many opportunities for such a natural talent, and it's just not good enough.
I could see the talent actually in the time he was batting yesterday.
You could see it coming as well, though. That was the thing. He was starting to get overly aggressive with Harmer, and I thought there's probably only going to be one outcome here.
Yes, Harmer tends to win most of those tussles eventually, and but it was a good contest. But yeah, obviously you don't know whether Borthwick would still be out there, but those 2 wickets, Burnham and then Borthwick, with the slight stumping controversy and then the dismissal the following delivery.
Here comes Cook down the hill, right arm over and bowling to Cast. So Cast is limping around. He said last night that he had a bit of a swollen ankle and he had a bit of treatment, but he said he should be all right tomorrow, and I thought, well, when you go to bed on an ankle like that, it normally, when you wake up the next morning, it's normally a little bit fatter than it was the day before. So clearly he's feeling it. He had some treatment on the pitch yesterday after he went over on it, put his foot in a hole as he was bowling, and then still managed to get his 5 for after that. In comes the bowler. That's edged. Is that edged? I heard something. I definitely heard something there. The umpire says no.
No.
Everybody's appealing.
I must admit, Cook keeping that pressure on with Harmer.
What did we hear there?
Yeah, we heard something, but not out is the verdict. It wasn't one that they looked like they were convinced they were going to get, compared to, say, the Harmer appeal.
Must have been the bat hitting the ground then.
Yeah, must have been.
Dave McCall pointing out that Lees is out there as a runner. What chance of a run out? Yeah. It is quite confusing when you're playing with a runner and you're out in the middle. Cook bowls again, and this is turned by Cast down towards fine leg for 1. Now, a few years ago, Cast was playing in a game at Trent Bridge, and he'd been having problems with, I think, hairline fractures of his foot, and injured his foot again, and came out on that occasion with a runner, hobbled around, and I think got to 46 before he was eventually caught out.
Right. So yes, innings with runners have great histories, don't they? Can be quite short histories. But we'll see how this one goes.
In comes Cook bowling to Eckersley. Eckersley drops that down towards third man for 1 run, and Porter comes and fields it. Keith Gregson's emailed. He says, Keith Gregson here, the Ashbrook historian, enjoying the commentary. My wife is from Good Easter near Chelmsford.
Oh yes.
And the references to Steve Greensword, an ex-Ashbrook pro. And he said, here's an appendix I put to a recent book about the links between Shetland and Wearside, discussing the origins of Mackham, which is still up in the air, he says. Course on 2 defends Cook. Thus vigorous and enterprising in the prosecution of their business, the shipbuilders of the Weir do not appear generally to have been possessed of much scientific knowledge respecting it. The degree of perfection in construction would seem to have been regulated according to price. Hence it came to be derisively said that Sunderland shipbuilders could either build a ship or mack one. So i.e., do you want a good one or a bad one? Hence Mackems. Cook, last ball of his 13th over to Carse. Carse defends, the ball runs up to mid or no run there. Again we go back to the fact that if Durham can just get a partnership together here and take the sting out of this, and still, 50 minutes to go to lunch.
Well, they need 68, Martin. It's one of those situations.
They could end up with a late lunch.
If we were doing a T20 game here, we'd be saying a couple of good overs and they'd still be in with a chance. But yes, might
it's not really been that nature of a game, though, has it?
What else is happening? Derbyshire, a slightly delayed declaration, I think, setting Worcestershire 398 to win. I suspect that's going to be a draw. Worcestershire a 10 without loss. So in the other game in this group, Warwickshire 124 for 3, need a further 209. Sam Hain is 39 not out against Notts. So of course they haven't got the batting of Dominic Sibley. So effectively they're 4 downs, and Notts are still favourite in that one. And almost all over for Middlesex, 244 for 8. Hampshire are going to win. Now, Gloucestershire lost a second wicket. Can Somerset do to Gloucestershire what Essex have done to Durham? I don't think they will. 89 for 2. James Bracey is 39 not out, as that's played away down. He's had a very good game. It's the first ball of Harmer's new over, played down towards short fine leg by Eckersley on 7.
There's so much riding on this match as well when you think everybody drew last week.
Yes.
Get a win on the board.
Makes a difference, doesn't it, in a 10-game group. Here is Harmer bowling, and this is driven away wide of mid-off. Good-looking shot for 4, I think. Yeah, beautifully composed stroke. Just got to the pitch of it, head right over the ball, and put away. Eckersley goes for 4. Tell you what, if Carse can be involved in a partnership here with a runner, having got the 5 wickets, that would be some performance, wouldn't it? But, well, they're still keeping themselves in contention, Durham. I fear they may have lost 1 wicket too many from their point of view, but 104 for 7. And we're down to 64 to get. Harmer over the wicket, bowls. This is just played from the crease defensively.
What was your phrase yesterday morning? If we're still here by tea today, something's gone horribly wrong for Durham.
Yes.
Was that what you said?
Something like that. Yeah. Yes, I thought that it would mean that there'd been a lot of runs being scored for Essex. As here's one that's tossed up by Harmer and played away towards short mid wicket, and there's no run. Sussex are struggling to get rid of Glamorgan in that game at Cardiff. 306 for 6, so Glamorgan are 110 ahead. Stats could go down to the wire. Lancashire well on course to beat Northants, already 5 down. That's going to be pretty straightforward, and I think Yorkshire are going to beat Kent 87 for 5. Completely out of it, need a further 358. Here's Harmer bowling. Oh, that's I think just come off the pad, run down to short fine leg, and there's no run. Eckersley stays on 11, and there's 2 to Carse. It's 104 for 7. And if you have just joined us, it all happened in a real flurry here, literally, starting with Burnham holding out to Wesley off Harmer, and then the equally big wicket, that of Borthwick. That's played past short leg and for a single. Short mid wicket running round, that's Allison, and the score goes up to 105 for 7, meaning a further 63 required. And with that single, we have Eckersley 12 and Carse 2, 105 for 7. Yeah, the 2 big wickets, Burnham and Borthwick, who'd shared the half-century partnership, they put on 63 in the end, and then 2 more going pretty quickly, Pointer to Cook and Rain to Harmer, and that leaves us where we are at 105 for 7.
BBC Essex with you, BBC Radio Newcastle, and listeners on 5 Live Sports Extra. 12 minutes past 12, Sunday the 18th of April. Round 2 coming to a conclusion in the County Championship this year. Who's going to come out on top in this one then?
Well, I think
I was expecting quite a tense morning, and it has developed in the manner I thought it might.
I honestly thought at the start of the day Durham would win, because I've been impressed with what I've seen of Durham. But obviously things have changed a little bit since then. have to say that I think most would still favour Essex at this point.
Porter's coming back into the attack from the Hayes close end. 1 for 21 from his 10 overs so far, 5 maidens. Eckersley's on strike on 12 from 25 deliveries, and at the other end Carse has faced 10 for his 2 as Porter comes in, right arm over to the right-handed Eckersley. That's played out into the covers.
Yes, you're right about the importance of wins, and particularly if you can get sort of 2 wins ahead of your rivals, particularly the third place side, I guess, is going to become important, isn't it, for the 2 leading sides as these groups develop, and you're looking to see how much of a gap you can get so you can be confident of securing your place. But yeah, it's going to be an absorbing format, and it's great to see so many of the counties. I think we've got another full round of games, haven't we, with everyone involved.
Here comes the bowler again. That's pulled by Eckersley out towards the square leg boundary for 1.
Durham have a break at some point. I think you mentioned it's in May, don't
yeah, it's the first bank holiday week of May.
Yeah. Essex have one when they really don't want it, which is in the first week of July, when they would have been playing India A, but as we now know, all of the tour games have been called off for this season. And yes, you feel that post-COVID, maybe tour games will return, but let's hope they're meaningful contests. I was looking forward to the New Zealand Somerset one, I must admit.
Here comes Porter again. Carse plays and misses at that one. There was a little yelp from the bowler. I just had a text from a dad here as he was on about the message from Keith Gregson there from Ashbrook, and the reference to Stevie Greensword. He says Steve was by far the best player over 20 years in the Durham Senior League after coming home from Leicester, aged 22 years. In his famous greeting in Mackham, "I'll read young'un," whenever you meet him. Don was mentioning playing against him for the minor county side. I think he was 15 when he played in that game, he was saying. Durham 106 for 7 as the bowler comes in, and that skids through low, but Carse is equal to it. He's looking to be in a bit of pain here. He's obviously got one very weak, painful ankle.
So we have that quiz question about the current Essex player with career best bowling figures of 4 for 54. That's what I was going to say.
Alistair Cook?
I can't imagine
there's only
him.
3 players in this team
who played in 2010. I'm going to go
Wesley.
Tender Scarter. Well, possibly. Tender Scarter or Wesley. Can we make a decision looking it up? All right, I'll say Wesley.
I'm going Tender Scarter.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get the answer soon.
Porter bowls, and this is played by Carse off towards point, and he's going to get some runs here because there was a misfield by Allison, and they're going to get 2, just 2.
Martin saying that you were at Chelmsford in 2018 and watched Essex collapse against Nottinghamshire. You said that was their last home defeat. We think it was Surrey at the start of September 2018.
That was the last time Notts won, and so when they ended up drawing with Durham last week, their winless run was 28 matches. Durham, by the way, if they don't win this one, theirs will be 9 matches. So they didn't win last season.
But that was a poor defeat against Notts. It was a strange season 2018, remember? Yorkshire made 50 and won.
In comes the bowler, and Carse forward to that one, and a big shout of no as he plays it out towards the point area.
I'll tell you what,
the over.
You do some silly research at the start of a day, and I was looking up highest fourth innings totals to win, and I noticed that Middlesex, if they were to get the runs today, would have beaten their own record. But the fact they're 9 down with about 300 short, it's fairly academic.
It's going to be an incredible final stand, that one.
Yes.
I remember twice in matches, Keaton Jennings getting a century and Durham needing to come back the next day to get 1 wicket to win. I think the last time it happened was against Derbyshire in 2017. And he was telling me this story. His dad was playing in a first-class match in South Africa, and they came back on the final day needing 1 wicket to win and never got it.
Wow. Well, you can elaborate.
And it wasn't because of the weather either.
Right.
The other side just battered and battered.
Goodness me. Maybe it was a reverse batting order job, I don't know. That's Holmes and Sutcliffe. That's come off the pad, has it? Given out! It's bat on to pad, gone to short, gone to leg slip, and another wicket has gone. It's Eckersley. It's a classic Harmer dismissal, a bit of drift, and it's popped off bat onto, I think, onto pad, gone to leg slip. and Eckersley has gone for 13, and Durham are 108 for 8. And he batted pretty positively, but again, Harmer, who's really bowling very well at the moment, that wicket of Borthwick meant so much to him, and that just looked a classic Harmer dismissal.
Matt Salisbury and Chris Rushworth left to come.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be...
needed to win. Who took the catch there at short leg, did you see?
Confirm that for you. It was Lawrence, who's, pretty safe pair of hands. But, I think leg slip there, and it was all classic off-spinner's dismissal, wasn't it? My word, he's bowled well. And 4 for 51 in his 22nd over to match the efforts of Cook in particular, and Porter's got a wicket as well. And now you do rather fear that this may not go beyond lunchtime from the point of view of Durham, and they'll be disappointed because for much of this game, Marty, they've shown signs of that improvement that we saw last season, and they certainly gave Notts a very good game in the opening contest. But an element of back to the drawing board, I guess, but they won't have many tougher matches in the schedule than Essex away. And it could be a different story at the Riverside. So I shall be making way for Don at the end of this over. We'll bring him back on. So now it's going to be Salisbury. He's had a pretty good game. 3 round the bat and a short mid-wicket. And this one just pops up past short leg. Who couldn't get across to that. Goes to short mid-wicket and there's no run.
Imagine a fairy tale here if Salisbury could get these runs against his former club.
It would be quite something. Gloucestershire at 101 for 2, need just 52 to win. At Taunton, what a great victory that's going to be for them. It looks like anyway. It's just played head over the ball by Salisbury. When you think of what happened to Gloucestershire against Somerset last year, when they lived with them for one day and then Somerset just more or less did what they wanted with them. Bowled them out cheaply, very cheaply twice, but looking like Gloucestershire and Hampshire going well clear in that group the way things are at the moment, as this is played defensively, head right over the ball by Salisbury, who's batting with Cast with a runner. 108 for 8. The runner standing next to having a chat to a square leg umpire. It gives the square leg umpire a bit of company in this situation, although currently he's standing at point with Harmer bowling to the right-hander with 3 round the bat, and there's Salisbury just pushing down in front of short leg, and there is no run. So Essex firm favourites here, no question about that. Still 60 to get. A classic Essex performance this morning after a deceptively good start for Durham, as that one's just played a little bit of bounce down to backward point. So 108 for 8. I'm afraid I've taken rather too many Durham wickets in this session with you, so I'll bring in Don to a stonewalling session till lunch with still 60 required, and Don Topley about to come back in.
David Robson says the writing's on the wall for Durham. If we lose today, that will make us played 2 and 1 none, when we should really have been played 2 and 1 2. Well, slightly disagree there. Last week it Pavilion boundary for 4. Nice shot there off the bowling of Porter. The other issue is yesterday coming and needing 4 wickets to get Essex out, and seeing all those young batsmen put loads of runs on the board. The wicket seemed flat, and Essex gave themselves, I think once that total got beyond 130, then you start to have the psychological impact of the chase, and it ended up being 168, which you felt was too much. Is it going to be too much? We will find out in the next maybe the next few minutes, maybe the next half hour, but is there a twist yet in this game? 56 needed. Porter to Cast defends. If they get there in singles, it would take quite some doing. 1 or 2 and over, we could be here for some time yet, but as things stand, it'd be a late lunch anyway now, wouldn't it? If we're still 8 down going into 1 o'clock, they'll take the extra 8 overs.
Your hot potatoes will be cold potatoes.
Yeah. Course is on 8 from 16. So the bowler comes in and he plays that off his back foot, and that's out down towards the cover side of the square for 1. If Essex wrap this up, all the headlines will be about that's why Essex are champions. You can't write them off. What a great fight back. And typical Durham. If Durham can win this, then what a result that would be. And I think the written press who are in the VIP boxes away across to our right might have 2 versions of the story waiting to go at the moment. 55 needed to win. 113 for 8. Porter comes in and bowls, and that's defended by Matt Salisbury. Goes back up towards the bowler's end.
Marty, the last dismissal of Eckersley, what have you got it down as?
Caught Dan Lawrence, bowled Simon Harmer.
Right, just on the BBC stat service, it's got caught Harmer, bowled Harmer.
No. Went leg slip, didn't it? There's a big appeal here as Salisbury plays across the line. I think he's jammed the ball with the toe of the bat onto his foot and bounces backwards to the keeper. It didn't go back to the bowler. It was when the leg slipped,
just on the stat on the BBC.
Yeah.
It's got Eckersley caught Harmer, bowled Harmer, which I'm obviously looking at and thinking that.
No, on NV Play it's got Eckersley caught Lawrence, bowled Harmer.
Right.
Which is that because that's what happened, yeah.
So
I don't know who's doing that scorecard. Last ball of Porter's 12th over, 1 for 29, 5 maidens. Bowling to Salisbury, who pushes the ball up to mid-off, no run.
end of the over, 113 for 8.
Bird chirping away in the background. I don't know what that was.
I think this is 4 for 55. The answer is correct. It was Tom Wesley who was playing for Durham University against Durham in 2010.
Now then, I've got that in my match
Well
notes.
done.
Should have read my match notes.
Oh, who wrote your match notes then?
Me.
Julia?
Me.
Oh.
Yeah, Tom Wesley's best bowling, 4 for 55, Durham University against Durham in 2020. I had it there in front of me.
Harmer in bowls, and this is played on the back foot by Bryden Cass. I have noticed when I went to powder my nose that Bryden Cass occasionally yelps with a bit of pain when he comes on the front foot, because it is his left foot, his planting down ankle. This time it's a sweep, it's played in the air, it's well hit, it's hit it a long way. I think it's gone for 4, but it's bounced over Sam Cook, who is about 15 yards in on the boundary at deep backward square. Well hit, full-blooded sweep shot, and he collects 4 runs, does the, the big-hearted bowler, Bryden Cass. He moves to 13, score 117 for 8. 3 men round the bat still. Deep square leg has gone back. This is played into the offside. They take a single, rightly so. Cass doesn't move. He's got a runner, so he now moves across to the offside umpire at square, where he will go and stand and enjoy a conversation, I'm sure. But he takes a single, so he moves on now to 14. Salisbury on to face is on naught. Harmer bowls. Played into the offside, there is no run.
Nick's just showing me something. I did mention this on Thursday, and I mentioned it again this morning. Durham have put out a press release today just confirming that Cameron Steele's gone to Hampshire on a 2-month loan. He got 100 for their seconds against Surrey at Guildford the other day, so the scorecard was there for all to see online the other day.
Harmer in. Salisbury plays forward, plays into the leg side, no run.
Yeah, Dwayne Olivier got him in the head in that pre-season tour of South Africa, and I think by the end of April that year he got about 10 players concussed.
Yes. Harmer in again, a little bit quicker, and Salisbury spots it, comes forward, plays into the leg side, and it is a dot ball. A email from Stephen Tokley, many thanks indeed. He says, morning chaps, what a game this is and has been, with maybe a further twist, and the little bit of optimism towards Durham, because obviously it started off, Durham played very well in the first half hour, but then they've lost a few wickets. The optimism is, Marty, this game has all been about tail enders. Tail enders have got runs. He said, great to hear my mate Pat Keys is on an email. I used to see Pat every year at Valentine's Park, Ilford. As Nick said, sadly no longer to use the outgrounds. When did Durham last use an outground, Marty?
They play at South Northumberland in Newcastle, a one-day game every year, so they're due to play there again against Lancashire this year, and they'll be playing as a new over begins, and Cars guides that one down to third man along the floor off the bowling of Porter. They're going to be at a few outgrounds in the one-day cup this year because the test venues will be used for the 100th, so they play Kent in Beckenham, they play Middlesex in Radlett, and then they host a game against Gloucestershire in Scarbados, and they'll also play Lancashire at South Northumberland. So I think of the 5 or 6 games they've played at South Northumberland, and they originally went there to celebrate the club's 150th anniversary around about 2015, something like that. They've only lost the one. That was to Lancashire in a game where Graham Onions came in towards the end of the match and smacked a load of sixes, which I'd never seen him do. Porter bowls to Salisbury. Salisbury plays that into short extra cover. It's a dot ball.
Going back,
they've beaten Warwickshire there. They've beaten Leicestershire there.
Have they? Right. So it's a pretty regular fixture.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
Yeah,
good to hear.
And it gets a good crowd. I mean, the ground's similar in size to this, I would say. They've got a nice indoor sports centre with indoor cricket nets and decent sized pavilion, probably on a par with this.
Right.
They get a lot of people in there, yeah. Porter bowls and cut by Salisbury through the covers, nice shot, and it's being chased by Allison across the square towards the pavilion. Durham will run too. What happens is they get a few hundred in the indoor school and the corporates, and that's where the money is made, and they get a decent crowd in there, yeah. It's a nice venue. It's just to the north of Newcastle city centre, so if you imagine where the Great North Run starts on the town moor, it's about a mile from there, maybe across the moor, probably not even that far, 3/4 of a mile. So it's not too far from Jesmond, where Northumberland played. In comes the bowler, that's gone through to the keeper as Salisbury tries to play at that one. And I think it was Durham's first visit across the Tyne since they played the Benson and Hedges match at Jesmond against Derbyshire in about 1994.
Right.
I like the outgrounds. I think that's a great experience. I mean, Arundel's really nice, obviously. Sedbergh was just fantastic a few years ago.
Yes, yeah.
Southport was great.
Yep. Just before they moved to their permanent home at Chester Street.
Porter bowls, and it's short, and Salisbury, I think, is a bit slower as well there. It just took a bit of the pace off that. Salisbury played and missed, trying to pull one through the leg side.
They used to play at Hartlepool. Mm-hmm. Which I remember, a very pretty, quaint pavilion in a park.
Yeah, they played Essex twice there, I think. Essex won both times.
I reported a game there, and I played.
Played at Stockton against Essex.
Stockton on tees, yes.
Essex won that one as well.
I remember that. What other grounds were there? They played
Chesley Street, the racecourse in Durham City, Gateshead Fell.
University.
Yeah. Playing a miss this time from Salisbury, although he may have tucked the bat inside the line and the ball deliberately there at the end of the over. Durham need 47 to win, 121 for 8. Are your nerves up for this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Yeah, so they were quite nomadic. We're at the Darlington. I covered a game at Darlington in the summer of 2000 to beat Derbyshire there. in the county championship. I saw them play Kent at Gateshead Fell in 1992.
In a first class?
Yeah,
in
it
a
was
first
a championship
team.
match, yeah.
Right, really? I know they play second team cricket there.
We had an Australian lad called Andrew Pratt living with us. He came over for a year and was playing for Whitburn, and we went one Sunday afternoon and watched that one.
Harmer to continue from the river end. Tom Wesley is now fielding on the boundary beneath us at the river stand. And this time, Cast comes forward, squeeze it out on the leg side. There is no run.
That big first match on the TV, the Sunday League game at the racecourse ground in front of a packed house against Lancashire.
That. Yep. Harmer in again, bowls, given a lot of air. There's an LBW shade down. He's been given. Harmer gets another man.
Fifer.
It's James, or Tenfer, isn't it, in the game?
Well, yeah.
So Bryden
Cass is standing there.
Yep, he's going to have to be removed. He's limping off, not because his pride has been dented by being LBW. That was because of his fantastic wholehearted bowling yesterday afternoon. But he wanders off. He's been LBW to Harmer, as a few have this morning, of which Harmer's got his 10th wicket, 5 for 56 to go with his fifer in the first innings. He's got a 10 wicket haul. How magnificent is that? And people around the country will be looking upon this and saying, Harmer 5, Harmer 5. It must be a raging turner. Marty Emerson, it's not.
I'll tell you what, I got a message on Friday night off Dave Bracegirdle, who the Nottinghamshire commentator has said. He said he already thought that Essex with Simon Harmer had enough runs on Friday night. Well, he said if they got a, where are Durham now, 121 for 9, he thought Harmer would do a job. And even though this wicket looked placid yesterday, there was plenty of dust coming out of it, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, Simon Harmer. I think some of the Durham players might have been thinking that as well.
Well, he's just so experienced. He knows what he's doing. He bowls and controls the pressure. You've got 3 men round the bat. That's the problem. Or 4 men round the bat. That creates pressure. You know, you might not get you out that ball, but during the course of this over, he will bowl a ball that will trick you, that you may squeeze it between bat and pad. You play the wrong line. He does you in the air. You hang back because you think it's a ball that's maybe a little shorter. It's not. It's a little bit quicker. You go back and it hits you on the pads and your LBW. Harmer.
Well, Durham got the last pair in now, and they need 47 to win. So it would be quite astronomical. 15, yeah. It'd be quite astronomical if they could get there from here.
Harmer, in he goes. 3 men round the bat. Nice loopy off spin. The batsman allows the keeper to take it. He's not interested in playing it. Is Chris Rushworth, who bowled so well earlier in this game on day 1. Harmer turns again round the wicket, 3 men round the bat still. This time he plays into the offside, nicely executed for a single. Rushworth gets off the mark. Mid-off goes to extra cover to retrieve the ball. That's Jamie Porter. 1 more run, 122 for 9. So Essex on the verge of a very fine victory, not forgetting that they were bowled out for just 96 on the opening morning 4 days ago. Harmer in again. This is driven by Salisbury up to Porter at mid-off. There is no run. Reminds
39 me of fifers now for Harmer.
Yeah. Stunningly skillful bowler, really is. Some people down in Somerset think that all the wickets up here that he gets are all rigged and turning square. Just a quality bowler. Last ball of the over, which Salisbury bats out into the leg side, watches it very carefully, and it is the end of the over. Well bowled, Mr. Harmer, 122 for 9.
Durham have lost 6 for 38.
Once they look, for the first half hour, Marty, Durham played really nicely. Scott Borthwick was not like Scott Borthwick of last night. He showed intent. He was prepared to try and look for runs. But once Essex got a wicket, and that of Jack Burnham, and I'm going to try and defend him a little bit. The ball was just slightly short from Simon Harmer, and he went back He went back to a ball earlier in the over, which he played with a straight bat, but this time he went back and he could see that it was a scoring ball. The criticism aimed at Burnham was that he tried to hit it for 12. He lost his shape.
Oh, in comes Porter bowling to Rushworth, who plays and misses at that one.
Burnham just tried to hit it too hard. He lost his shape and top edged it straight in front of us down here at the river end where Tom, I mean, he didn't have to move. It just went straight down his throat. Top edge really, trying to play a cross bat shot and just sent it straight. Should have, in retrospect, just timed it, executed it nicely, taken what runs were offered, or play it with a straight bat. But he tried to hit it for 12.
Seen him do it too many times, unfortunately, as Porter comes in and bowls, and driven by Chris Rushworth down towards Sam Cooke at third man for 1 run. Katie says, I wish I'd known Cameron Steele was playing at Guildford. I watched a bit of the game but couldn't find the online scorecard, so couldn't work out most of who the players were. Katie says,
Salisbury and Rushworth, will this be a heroic tail to wag as we've seen so often in this game?
Here comes the bowler, and turned by Salisbury towards mid-wicket, no run there. Doug Rain says only Durham could turn a potential victory into defeat in a game in the driving seat for so long. But Essex do have the best spinner in county cricket in Simon Harmer.
Yep, I'd agree with that. Definitely. And he's done it so many times, as you just suggested. And Essex, I don't want this to sound arrogant, Marty, but Essex are a good side and they know how to win games and they've got a winning habit. Very different for Durham, but Essex have previous with this.
In comes the bowler, and that's the end of that one. Essex win by 44 runs as Salisbury loses his middle stump. And that's been a capitulation from Durham today. They're all out for 123. A bruising encounter. They were on top for 2 days. They had that wobble on the first night in the dark where they lost 4 wickets for 3 runs. And you look back at the scorecard now, how crucial was that to what they were eventually chasing. Yesterday they were flat with the ball and they let Essex off the hook. A rearguard action from those young batsmen yesterday who did ever so well. Walter with 77, Allison with 52 and Sam Cooke with 37, all career best scores. And then Simon Harmer has really ripped through them today. And there's an email here from Phil Huntsman, great coverage as ever. How long do you think Durham will persist with Burnham? And this is the thing, Burnham has ended up as the top scorer in this innings today with 43, but it's the manner in which he got himself out and the moment and the timing of it, having grafted hard with Scott Borthwick to put 63 on the board. They'd got to halfway where they needed to be, 85 more to go. He holds himself out, he gets too excited, takes on Harmer, loses out, and then Durham claps. So they've lost there. They're all out now for 123, and they have lost 7 wickets for 40 runs.
He's got to learn from that situation. He's got to learn that perhaps I haven't got to hit it quite as hard as I want to. The modern day young player is brought up in hit and giggle, the shorter format of the game, where they do hit the ball hard, and Jack Burnham wanted to. You can't just blame Jack Burnham, but his dismissal was certainly the catalyst that Essex suddenly started to apply the noose round Durham's neck. Simon Harmer, he's taken 10 for 136, 5 for 79 in the first innings, 5 for 57 in this second innings. He has been clapped off by his teammates. He's the first to punch fists with the Durham as they come out to congratulate the victors. Essex, the county championship winners from last year, or the Bob Willis Trophy winners from last year, and the 2019 championship winners. 10 for 136. And Marty, I'd probably say I've seen Harmer bowl better. He bowled 60 odd overs in the one innings of Worcestershire last week. I think he's still getting there. He's not bowling as well as he has done in 2018, possibly 2019. It's still early season, having arrived over from Pretoria or Johannesburg, the Highveld in South Africa, where he played his cricket this winter. But he's a very important cog in this Essex machine. Yes, he will probably get the plaudits for man of the match, absolutely, but I think we do have to say that the Essex tail, had they not wagged, there was a real chance that Worcestershire would have wrapped this up yesterday afternoon. Durham would have wrapped this up yesterday afternoon. So many congratulations to the invaluable effort of the Essex bowlers, who batted so well and so sensibly, patiently, and they were so disciplined. They kept Durham at bay. So well done to those bowlers who batted so well.
Just a couple of tweets. Chris Sharp, once both openers got out for ducks, the game was lost. Without a solid start, it was never possible, he says. Emma says, I'm not sure what to say about that, dear me. And Jason Cole says, Durham,